what makes sense today for any business might not be the same thing that will make sense in the next 5 years. So the business has to sit down and understand what are the movements with the people, what are the movements with the technology. Quite a number of people talk about the skill set for the future, still the mindset for the future. What about the tool set? Are the resources or systems we are working with still answer or even assist us to have a glimpse of how things will be in the future?
Hola, people pros, and welcome to the People Champion podcast by ElevateHR. This is the third episode of our new segment, which we call the People Companies Impact Stories, where we feature exceptional people doing impactful work. Today's guest is the very definition of exceptional. He has years and years of experience in HR, a deep expertise in functions like performance management, employee relations, learning and development, culture and innovation, just to mention but a few. Also, notable contribution as a special industry delegate to the review of Industrial Relations Charter. He is a member to a task force that worked on amendments to the HRMP Act, and currently is a member Wages Council at the Ministry of Labour Kenya, and also, and I think this is my favorite, a member of the Innovations and Digital Economic Committee at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And he is currently the Group Head of HR Shared Services Wananchi Group. Nicholas Kibet,
Yes.
Karibu sana to the show. I'm so excited, absolutely honored to have you here with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Awesome. So, I have to ask, so obviously you have years and years of experience in the HR space. Is this what you wanted to do growing up?
Yes. Interestingly, I grew up in I'm from Rift Valley, Kericho to be specific. So our home across is the tea estate. So any other time we are at the market, I could see the human resource department van.
Oh.
In that road. And I could ask my dad then, what are these people doing? And he told me these are the people who are involved in hiring and firing them. So that actually created an interest in me, which after the high school, and I remember when I was enrolling for my undergraduate, I was so specific that I needed to do a Bachelor of Commerce with a specialization in HR. Through the 4 years, let me call out the third year where you have to transition now to that specialization. Then it was realized that we were only two people who had expressed an interest to pursue human resource management. The rest of the people wanted to do finance and all that. There is a quorum needed for for that class to proceed. So interestingly, I went to the VC and reminded him that it was not possible to create a finance person out of me. And when I joined, it was out of what they had shared, that we have this and these specializations. So there was no way I'm changing my route midway. So what was the only resolution then, when they realized that I was not about to do finance or marketing, is when they allowed me actually to proceed to fourth year before third year, because there was only quorum ahead of us. So I did actually fourth year first semester, fourth year second semester. Then I went back for third year first.
Wow, now you went back to third year.
Yeah, because
to complete what? Okay, wow.
Exactly. So that's how it is. And for me, I felt it was a very deep calling, dealing with people. I separated myself as a people's person way back, and aspects around culture, what is it that makes people to function well and all that. I thought maybe I'll create a better impact from the people's side. So that's how I knew I'll end up in a HR department.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's definitely a calling if you actually had to fight for a chance to, take up that course in the first place. Anyway, now that you've been in the industry for quite a while, is there any aspect of HR that you would change?
Yeah, quite a number of items. First of all, let me call out the industrial relations part of it, the labor laws and all that. I feel that we are running with items that were making sense in the year 2007. The labor laws,
Okay.
Employment Act 2007, Occupational Safety and Health Act 2007, Work Injuries Benefits Act 2007. And at the point of COVID, we know that most of our laws really were not designed to even answer quite a number of emerging items like COVID. And you saw there was arrangement between the Federation of Kenya Employers, the court, trying to answer what the remedies that were available to employers then, because our laws never provided a situation where maybe you could second your employees on unpaid leaves and all that. Yeah, it was not even anticipated in our laws. There are also aspects of learning and development. I've interacted with the peers in the industry, and the aspects, let me mention that I was part of a team also that was approached by Kabarak University, that's my alma mater, to review the HR curriculum, trying to bring the workplace, the practical aspects into the learning. So I think there is a missing link. What is studied in school, then you are realizing the practical aspects out there are so different. So there is still a need for the employers to refine these employees, while in essence, these are people who have gone through the school, the curriculum that was available. Then it should be plug and play. But nowadays, that a graduate, there is still some more work you have to work on for them to be functional. Let me use the word functional.
Okay. All right. So I'm getting an overarching theme of innovation. Like there clearly needs to be innovation, especially in the HR space. So I'd like us to talk a little bit about that. And what do you reckon is a culture of innovation? And first of all, is it important for businesses to adopt that culture of innovation?
Definitely, 100+%. If you have seen a number of companies actually going down, it's because there is an aspect of innovation. I normally tell people, even the best of us today might be the worst for the business in the next 5 years if we remain the same. We have read enough, examples out there that there was something that was changing, but other people still kept doing what they were doing because it was bringing in more business. A few months down the line, the best were being chased out of the market. So for the survival of the business, what makes sense today for any business might not be the same thing that will make sense in the next 5 years. So the business has to sit down and understand what are the movements with the people, what are the movements with the technology. Quite a number of people talk about the skill set for the future, still the mindset for the future. And what about the tool set? Are the resources, systems we are working with still answer or even assist us to have a glimpse of how things will be in the future? So that's a question which all companies should be answering day in, day out.
Yeah, I know. Joge was here a few weeks ago, and he talked about the importance of just innovation and how companies die if they do not innovate. And I think it's almost what you said. But what I get is really that innovation requires a change of mindset, right? All right. So I also tend to think that innovation requires some level of experimentation and risk taking. I'd say for startups, that's what we do every day. We experiment, we take risks. But for big corporates, I know you worked and managed over 23,000 employees. I think even right now you're managing
3,000.
3,000 employees. So for companies as big as yours, how do you promote that culture of risk-taking and experimentation without necessarily promoting a culture of fear as well?
Yeah, before sharing that, let me first mention we had fluorescent, the bulb. Before there was a candle, there was fire. You understand?
Yes.
Someone said, actually, the fluorescent bulb was not an upgrade of the candle. It was a different innovation altogether. So transformative that it changed the way we are seeing lights. It changed the way we are operating with lights. So most of the items we have to realize that some items need to be upgraded. More of this building needs to be renovated, kind of. But there are situations where the whole building needs to come down and new thing to be developed. So that's how I see between the candle and the fluorescent bulb. Not related in a way.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
But this other one was a better improvement. But to come up with that, I read somewhere that it took 1,000 tries. It was an aspect of trial and error. So if that was it, Thomas Edison or someone who came up with that. So if that fellow was working in our 21st century workplaces, there is no time to do 1,000 mistakes. He could have been fired.
Yes.
He could have been fired day 2.
Immediately.
You understand?
Yeah.
So we have to allow these trials and errors for us to realize innovation. If we stick to the policies, I want to say there are items, the core, when we were discussing about the Constitution, amendment or the 2010 Constitution, even the Supreme Court, I had a very interesting thing about the fiber of the law, the main, the structure of the law, that the structure ought not to change. But there are aspects which you can play with. So I think each company needs to identify the items that should remain constant and other items which people can try out. And that is more of creating a safety net for people to try things. So if you punish people for failing, then trust me, it will create a fear, and people might end up not trying at all because there are repercussions to it. Yeah, so that's the kind of environment which you have to allow it. It has to be organic, natural, and if people are realizing there are better ways of doing things, if an employee running an item out of realization sees a better way of doing it, allow them to try it out. But if you stick to a kind of a policy situation, this is how it is. After this phase, give it 3 hours, then you introduce this. Then actually we are creating robots. We are forcing people to behave the way it is. And I've seen a number of memes out there. There is someone who was locked in a kind of a fence, a kind of a prison. So there is a key here. And there are other items. There was bread, so instead of this employee
reaching out for the key, they went for the bread.
Exactly.
How unfortunate.
So at the workplace, we are saying, no. Maybe he failed to pick the key because SOP says.
Yeah, true.
You understand?
True. Yeah.
There are things we have deployed at the workplace. We call them standard operating procedures. And we have a KPI on that. 100% adherence to the process. How will people innovate? You see? Yeah. So create an environment where people can double click the ways of working, the processes and all that. And trust me, as a proponent of 20-80 Pareto principle, I'll not want to be like, was it Bill Gates who said, you like hiring lazy people, they'll find a better way of doing things. but I'll prefer hiring smart people who will find a better way to cure what was to be cured in 8 hours in 2 hours. So that kind of environment which you really have to run with.
Oh, I love that. So for you said identifying what needs to remain constant, but also creating room for people to experiment. Yes. I'd also think that one way of promoting innovation is also encouraging knowledge sharing and cross-functional collaboration. So how can companies ensure that they promote that in the workplace?
Yeah, I think the structure of the company, the way it is, that we must have people at the strategic level. We must have people at the operational level, the doing. So most of the time, if you are so caught up in the operations, day to day, then you might lose the hindsight to see the changes in the environment. So those are the kind of situations that we allow. So the first thing, do your structure allow some people to think? That is what I said there. There is a level people are paid to think, and there is a level people are paid to do. So those are the kind of a situation that allows, for that happening, or that creation of an environment where there is that aspect of allowing people to be innovative. So these people paid to think in a way, out of, those tries, out of anticipating the situations, studying the environment, then they are in a position to develop ways, to be relevant in the future. I don't know if I have answered.
You have answered my question very well.
Okay.
I want to take you back a little bit. So I want us to talk about some of the barriers that people encounter when they're trying to facilitate innovation. And you talked about SOPs, which could also act as barriers. But are there other barriers? Maybe you can name just one more. And then how can we tackle that? Maybe you can even talk about, from your personal experience, because I know you're a proponent of innovation, and I'm pretty sure you've encountered a few challenges here and there.
Yeah, not only one more, maybe 17 more.
Okay, in the interest of time.
The issue we are facing is unprecedented. When I say unprecedented, is when dealing, it's easier to deal with equipments, with the systems, with the machines and all that. But a person, what makes a person the way they are cannot be something you can easily read. So there are many things, summation of my experience. I've encountered different items that tries to hinder innovation. And there are things to do with stereotyping. You'll find a situation where there are some people who are not allowed to think more than others, because maybe any other time they try to come up with a better solution, then you're like, no, these are thieves. You understand that kind of a situation. There are also, other than that, there are also cultural, aspects. I've had a situation where there are some people who decide naturally to slow their movements or to slow their speed because they also have the other side of things which they have to solve. So there is a point, a person you meet, a very senior manager, you expect this person to transition into the other side, but they decide, no, this is where we are okay. Because there are some other areas which really they'll not want to give it all because there are some other aspects culturally. There are also aspects of resources. Even though we'll want to innovate, to change everything, change the way even we are discussing now, there are limitations, which one is a resources. So these are financial resources. We'll want to change everything, but the budget will not allow. So that means you have to still stay the way you are for some time. I normally like to see it from the learning and development point of view. That there is a mindset I have to change through training. But there are no finances.
Yeah.
So technically I'm saying this employee should remain the way it is, for some time until I have enough resources to change their mindset. If training was to change the mindset. So I see resources are a biggest or a leading hindrance.
Okay, so speak about resources. I know the people who facilitate that are the leadership. So what would you say is the role of leadership in championing for innovation? Other than facilitating resources as well.
Leadership, and I want to see one person at that point. The owner of capital, the person who has deployed resources to queue a number of items. This vision carrier, there is how they understand how everything should play. This is a person who sits and decide how or sees how the business should mutate or metamorphosize with time. So the first thing I always say is an appreciation of the resources that are needed. There is an aspect of people, the human resource, the financial resource. At what ratio do you require, for you not only to cure the current needs, but also the future needs of the business? So that's a kind of a situation where you have to balance both. The same person at that leadership should be in a position to anticipate changes. And this person now is clouded by a number of people to assist him think. And this ExCom, there is a person who is bringing the financial experience. There is Nick who is talking about the human resource. There is another person talking about the commercial. What is it that is changing in the route to market, the consumer behavior and all that. There is another person who is running with another item. So that's a forum that assists the owner of capital to make a decision around what needs to change, how can we deploy resources, and how will we recoup our resources, the ROI. So those are the number of questions which someone at leadership, had to answer.
As we finalize, we call ourselves the people company, and I always have to ask a question on people. What would you say are some of the skills and traits that are important for individuals who want to be innovative within their organizations? Even when you're interviewing, I'm pretty sure you're always looking for innovative people, right? So what are those traits that you look for when you're hiring people on your team?
The first thing that really appeals to me, and maybe I'll not want to call it biasness, but any other time you find an open-minded person. Also when we are onboarding people, we are not trying even to solve the problems of that time. We also want to see if you have the right mindset to troubleshoot and answer the problems of the future. So a person with an open mindset allow us, to have an appreciation that there are softwares. If you instill or install in this person, then they'll be in a position to function well or answer those questions or carrying to the workplace. The opposite, close-minded. Close-minded, then I have to understand that I'm hiring this person for the problems I have now. If the situation changes, then 100% I know I will not depend on this person to answer those items. The other aspect is about personal development. I admire people who go out of their way to cure their own weaknesses. At a point, personally, as far as I am an HR professional, there is a point that I enrolled for a data science course, Python programming.
Very nice.
Yes. I'm shocked. I did well, more than other friends who were, in the core of that.
Yeah.
What was I trying to cure? That in a space I was at that time, it entailed a number of reporting on different aspects.
Yeah.
And I was running with a lot of data because I wanted to create some time. Then I had to sponsor myself for a course that would allow me to analyze data so well. You understand? I wanted to talk to the business well. Whatever it is that I was sharing, then I felt, no. How can I cure this weakness? And that's how it is.
Wow.
Yeah, so personal development aspect. There is also an aspect of mentorship. The kind of people who embraces mentoring. If you want to transfer skills from one end to the other, then trust me, there is a person who must accept, to be the empty vessel.
Yeah.
And there is one who is full. It has to be poured.
Yeah.
So any other person growing in the profession and you think you are full, there is no space for anything to be poured, then trust me, you might not really partake of any opportunity to be assisted.
Yeah, okay.
So those are the kind of things I'll see.
So open mindset, a continuous learner, and somebody who's open to mentorship. I loved it. Actually, I was just cheesing when you were talking about that, because at ElevateHR, that's one of the things we do. So we have a community of HR professionals, and the main goal of the community is professional development and networking. So the HR members get to, upskill through the courses that we put out. We also have a HR analytics course coming up. We have different master classes. And for mentorship, we also have an opportunity for people to be mentored, because you see, the community is very rich. There are members who have over 30 years of experience. There are others who are just starting out. So it's a great opportunity for HR professionals to be mentored and also to upskill. So I think this is also a good opportunity for me to just say, if you're a HR professional and you're not part of our community, come join us. All the fun happens on Slack. Anyway, so last question, Nicholas. What leadership legacy do you want to leave behind? I know you've grown through the ranks very quickly. I know we were just talking earlier about how you got into this space very young, 23, and now you've gone through the ranks. You're group head of HR, shared services at Wananchi. What leadership legacy would you like to leave behind?
Mine is simple. It started with the calling. Definitely to learn with the calling. Maybe one day when I'm done with all the HR, I might become a bishop. And now to change souls. But the kind of a situation I'm looking at, for me, for the people I've transacted with, what appeals to me so much is the number of people I've really assisted, mentored. I have a number, and any other time I'm in a space, I see it as an opportunity to assist those who are reporting to me, to understand, what goes on in that space. So for me, the legacy I see more around coaching, that I try as much as possible to pull quite a number of professionals who are still in those formative years. I've met some who are still, up and down, troubleshooting here and there. They are yet really to answer what is it that angers them where they are. So those are the kind of people I like sitting down with them so that we can refine and clarify what is it that they are after in HR. I've seen people who they have stayed in the same position forever. They have decided to be the robots in the situation. They still want to do things the way they are doing. I normally challenge, especially the HR practitioners, that growing up is not easy. But you must design your own way of growing up, and especially in the profession.
Wow. I love that. Nicholas, from just how passionate you are, I can definitely agree that yours is a calling. So, and what a beautiful calling it is. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. I have learned so much. And to our audience, if you're looking for HR software to better manage your employees' payroll, leave, or performance, we got you. Sign up on the link below to get a demo on the same. Till next time, bye.
My name is Cleophas Sila David. I'm an accountant by profession. I oversee the operations of Steers and the Bonaires Greenspan store. Some of the challenges I was facing as an accountant while processing payroll for my staff, the amount of time I was taking when processing the payroll for my staff was a bit long, and also the Excel could not give me some of the reports like statutory deductions and a child pay S1 and an SSF, and again my staff couldn't get pay slips. I was trying to find a solution to solve these challenges, and when I started using ElevateHR payroll system, I could process my payroll, extract reports, and share pay slips to my staff in 30 minutes. One of the things I've noticed is that our staffs are very happy with the way they are getting the pay slips. And again, These pay slips, they can present them to banks and access loans. To NHR or accountants who is looking for a payroll system, I would advise to try ElevateHR. It is easy to use and efficient.